Hello everybody, welcome to this week's yoga class. We're going to be using a mat today, so go ahead and grab your mat if you don't already have it. You will see that, as usual, I put a blanket over the middle of mine just to cushion my knees. My knees are a little tender, so you might want to try the same thing. We will just dive right in, y'all. So we're going to start today in a child's pose. So taking the knees a little bit wider, sitting back on our heels if we can. And then from here, you can walk your arms out in front of you and just start to melt your belly and your chest to the floor, and your forehead can come down too. And I know for some people, the hips are tight, and so your child's pose might look like your bum's in the air, and that's okay. So find your shape. Whatever place you land in should be pretty comfortable. So let's find a comfy enough place to sit and breathe for a few moments together. So in our child's pose, we'll start by just taking a few rounds of nice, big, juicy breath, as we usually do. So in through the nose, and it might feel really good to sigh out the mouth, maybe even making some sound, especially these first couple rounds of breath. Just kind of clear away any residue from the day that we're having. Just kind of brushing any stuff, let's say, in quotes, aside, so that we can be really present for this time that you decided to take for yourself, no matter what you have going on in life during the holiday season. I know this is a crazy time for so many of us, so congratulations for being here. And as you start to draw your breath in through your nose and out of your nose, slow and steady, you might just bring to mind why. Why are you here? Of all the choices you could have made to spend this time, why is it that you have pushed play and are showing up on your mat today? So as we continue with that deep breath, start to walk your hands over to the left side of the room. So you can just kind of creep your way there. I almost feel like I'm picking up my belly and my chest and laying it over my left eye. So you can walk as far as you're capable of doing. And you might even take your right hand and place it on top of your left. And so now when we pause here, you should feel a nice stretch through the right side of the body, especially when we breathe in. You can kind of feel those muscles, your ribcage stretching. Beautiful. Let's hang out for one more breath. And then start to walk yourself through center, just kind of palming. Just gently walking your way over to the right now. So this time, left hand can come and rest on top of your right as we once again melt our forehead down, chest, belly, breathing into that left side. What a lovely gift to give yourself, by the way, especially when things are crazy. I feel like we need this time even more. So how wonderful that you've chosen to carve out this time for you. Let's inhale back through center. And from here, let's start to press ourselves back. So you can use your palms to kind of walk your way back up. And I'm going to turn just so you can see me, but you don't have to. So we're sitting on our knees. And if this is a lot for the knees, you can certainly crisscross applesauce your legs, and that's okay too. We're just going to stretch the arms and shoulders a little bit. So from here, let's inhale our left arm across our body straight and grab onto it with the right hand. So somewhere on your forearm, being mindful we're not grabbing right on the elbow because our joints don't love that. Seeing if you can relax your left shoulder down away from your ear. And it's almost like the opposition of force. It's like you're pressing your left forearm into your right hand at the same time as you're pulling your forearm with that hand. So it's that push and pull. and the drop of the left shoulder. That should create a nice stretch in the tricep, underside of that left arm. Beautiful. We can exhale here, release that clasp, and then take that left arm all the way up and overhead, bending at the elbow so that our elbow is straight up in the sky and our palm is almost resting it behind our head at the base of our neck. So you can kind of lean back into your forearm, open through the chest. And I even like to grab that left elbow and pull it even a little bit further. I'm getting a nice stretch along, again, the tricep. Breathing all the while, always remembering that breath. Wonderful. On an exhale, you can release that bind, open arms out wide to the side, and then we're just going to switch. So exhale, right arm in front this time. You can grab onto the forearm with our left hand, right shoulder drops down. Same kind of oppositional force, that push and pull to open through the right tricep. Speaking of oppositional force, this just came to me, but this is a yoga concept that I'll share with you. So in yoga philosophy, there is a concept we call pairs of opposites. And the idea is that life and the world is made up of all of these pairs of opposites. So we can take our right arm up to the sky, again, bending at the elbow so we can lean into our palm, into that forearm, again, maybe reaching around and grabbing that elbow. So there's, plenty of examples of this if we start to think about it, right? There's summer and winter. There's two that just came to me because I see snowflakes outside right now. There's night and day. There's love and hate. There's good and bad, up and down, right? Highs and lows in so many different forms. Beautiful. Let's open up the arms. You're still facing forward. I'm going to turn just so you can see sideways on the mat, and we're just going to rock into hands and knees. So this is tabletop pose. This is what you'll get familiar with if you're not already. Kind of like our home base. And from here, let's take some cat-cows. So as we inhale, we're going to drop our belly as we lift our chin, lift our hips. We're arching through the back here. That's our inhale. And as we exhale, pressing into the palms to tuck and round. So we're rounding through the back now, bringing our chin to our chest, moving our face toward our hips. It's almost like a Halloween cat kind of back. And then you can move like this on your own pace. So I'm going to move at my pace, inhaling up, looking up, lifting the hips. Exhale to tuck and round. Beautiful. And you can take a few like this. It also feels really nice to set this free a little bit. So I like to make some circles with my hips even, kind of circling through the head at the same time. And the good news is you all are at home probably and no one's watching. So you can really move in any way that feels good to you. So if you're taking some circles, make sure you take, both ways. So take a few one direction, a few the other direction. Some people can even get really big with these circles. And it's almost like you can sweep your hips all the way forward and then almost press all the way back like you're coming into that child's pose. So this is a really nice way to loosen up through the whole body, really. We are sitting so much nowadays, driving so much, that we get a little stuck. And so these kind of fluid, circly, watery movements can really kind of shake up some tension in our spine and our hips, and our neck and head, shoulders. So yeah, take a few more breaths just to kind of experiment what's feeling good in your body tonight. Or today, or this morning, or whenever it is you're doing this. And so the idea behind those pairs of opposites, right? If we know that there's going to be both, right? We know that is a law of life. There's going to be ups and downs and twists and turns. The idea is to not get caught up in any of it, right? Just to see it as part of life. So we're not living for the high moments and we're not absolutely wrecked by the low moments. Ideally, right? We're just kind of like, oh, okay, I happen to be in a low moment. Or wow, things are really going well. I happen to be in a high moment that I'm liking. Huh, that's interesting. You know, just kind of looking at it objectively, no matter what it is. All right, so let's, with that in mind, come back to center. And we're going to simply from hands and knees, inhale our left arm to the sky. So this is a twist. And I like to circle around through my wrists. It's so nice to stretch that joint. I'm getting a nice stretch in the shoulder too. And then from here, with our left arm still lifted to the sky, let's step our left foot to the back of the mat. We're gonna spin that foot flat. So we're opening up to the left side of our mat. So my toes are facing the long side of my mat, pressing into the outer edge of that left heel. As my left arm lifts up, and you might turn your gaze up towards those left fingertips. So this is a plank, essentially. We're definitely working the belly. So if you feel your belly muscles working to keep you stable, that's good news. They're getting stronger. Definitely a balance challenge as well. So from here, let's bend at the elbow again. So elbow to the sky. This time it's, our hand will come to the back of our head still, but our elbow's facing like out from our ear. So let's inhale, reach that elbow back, open through the chest, and as we exhale, we're gonna bring our left elbow down to meet our right. Awesome, it's a little crunch. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, crunch it in. Left elbow meets the inner right elbow. Good job, one more time. Exhale, crunch it in. And then big stretch, left arm all the way up to the sky on an inhale. And this time as we exhale, this is a big move. See if you can step your left foot all the way up to the top of the mat. So you might even take your left hand and physically grab your left foot. Stamp it there. Beautiful. And from here, I'm going to scooch my right knee back a little bit to make a little bit wider of a base. So our hands are framing that left foot. So let's inhale, peek up through the chest, lift through the chin, tighten up those belly muscles. I like to keep my back toes tucked under. I feel like it helps me balance, but you can certainly lay the foot flat if that feels better to you. And as we inhale, we're going to rise up. So you might bring one hand on that left knee at a time to kind of help us rise. Yeah, and balance is a thing here too. So if you're a little wobbly, that's okay, that's normal. If you're too wobbly to the point where you can't hold this position, you might walk your left foot out a little bit. So we have a little bit wider of a base, not like a tightrope. Right? And then if hands on the thighs, feeling okay, you might start to reach up one arm. Or maybe both arms. And maybe if that's feeling okay, you can start to lift your chin, look up towards the fingertips. Beautiful. And all the while, again, belly muscles are engaged. Sucking that belly button in towards our spine is going to help protect our low back. So as we pause here for a moment, you might just consider, okay, when it comes to pairs of opposites, what is showing up in my life right now? Where am I in that spectrum? What kinds of things am I noticing? Maybe you're noticing busyness, right? You're in a time that is super busy and overwhelming, lots of activity and obligations, to-do list items. Let's inhale one more time. And as we exhale, bring our palms together up overhead. We're going to draw them through the midline in a prayer shape. And then take our right elbow and hook it over our left knee, turning to the left. So ideally, That prayer, our palms together, would be at the center of our chest as we work that elbow into the thigh, kind of leveraging our torso to the left. Some nice deep breaths here. And so with those observations, like, okay, this is what's going on in my life right now. See if you can find a way to just let that be. So not making it good or bad, not being like, oh, this is terrible, and oh, this is wonderful. No, it just kind of is what it is. That's what's going on right now. Inhale to untwist. Start to stretch those arms up to the sky. And then as we exhale, we're going to straighten that left leg and bow forward. So our hands again will frame that foot or land on maybe either side of the ankle or shin. Big stretch through the hamstring, as you can probably feel. Let's hang out here for a moment. Maybe you happen to be experiencing the holidays in a different way. It's not always busy for everybody. Maybe you're noticing things are slowing down. Maybe things are getting quieter, or you're less busy. And that can be tough too. It just kind of depends. So again, no matter where you are, not judging it, not labeling it any kind of way. It's just, interesting. That's where I am right now. Beautiful. Let's take one more inhale. Exhale, we'll bend back into that left knee. Palms can come down, and we'll swing that knee back in line. So once again, we'll find ourselves in tabletop, that home base. And you might, again, shift the hips a little side to side, kind of wagging your tail or wagging your head. And we're going to take that whole thing on the other side. Y'all ready? So we'll inhale. It started with that twist, right? But this time, right arm to the sky. And you might circle that wrist around. Yeah, both ways, really beautiful. And then from there, extending right leg behind us. So toes are facing forward. There's my foot. Grounded, pressing through the outer edge of that right foot. So we're opening to the side. Lovely. Exhaling, bending at the elbow, fingertips behind your head. Elbow out wide to the side. We'll inhale, open through the chest, like you're spinning your chest to the ceiling. And then exhale, little crunches, elbow to elbow. Inhale, open up. Exhale, crunching. Inhale, open. Exhale, little crunch. This time, opening all the way, straightening out that arm. And as we exhale, big step, bringing that foot, maybe with the help of your hand, walk all the way through to the front of the mat. So hands frame it on either side. We, again, might stretch that left knee out behind us a little bit for a little more stretch in that top of that thigh. And then from here, we can feel it out. We can take our time. We can stay with fingertips down as we lift through chin and chest a bit. From here, we can see what it's like on the side to maybe bring palm by palm on top of the thigh to rise. I'm going to walk my right foot out a little bit, so my balance is a little funny, just to give myself a wider base. Yeah, and then maybe the hands can come up, maybe one arm or both lift up as you turn up through the chin. Inhaling here, and as we exhale, bring hands together up overhead through that prayer shape, drawing it down through the midline. And then the left elbow hooks outside of right thigh. I maybe should have started on the other side so you can see better, but at least on this side you can see that prayer is working towards the center of my chest. using the hook of that elbow to twist myself even further, opening up my chest towards the ceiling. And the thing about those pairs of opposites, right, that up and down or high and low or whatever words are coming to you, is knowing that it's going to change. So wherever we are, whether we like it or we don't like it, we can at least rest assured that it won't be forever. This holiday season will pass, right? Winter will pass. Let's inhale to unhook that elbow. Stretch the arms up to the sky one more time. You can turn up your chin. Definitely an added balance challenge when we look up, just so you know. And then as we exhale, pouring our heart over that straightened right leg. So you can bring your fingertips down for support as you start to straighten the right leg. I don't think I said this on the last side, but my toes lift up when I do this. That seems to work better for me. So you might try that. And then use some rounds of breath to soften into this really deep hamstring opener on the right side. So knowing that things are going to change can sometimes help us to embrace where we are, whether we like it or not. If we happen to like what's going on in life right now, maybe knowing it's going to change helps us to appreciate it all the more, right? We know it's not going to last, so we savor it. And if we don't like what life looks like right now or what is going on in our circumstances, we can take comfort knowing that this too shall pass. Just gotta ride it out until it does. Beautiful. Let's take one more big inhale. And exhale, bending back into that right knee. You can ground the palms to swing that knee back in line. Here we are, home base once again, tabletop. Maybe a little shimmy side to side. And then let's take child's pose again. So the knees might come out a little wider, big toes kiss as we sit back on our heels, arms stretch out in front of us. Forehead melts down. Find some breath. And I'll invite us all as we take this little break to remember why you showed up. Remember we asked on the beginning, and it's amazing how we might have already forgotten. That's okay. Now's our chance to check back in and be like, oh yeah, this is why I decided to take this time. Let me refocus on that. Really awesome. You guys got one more flow in you. I've got one more little one, and then we're gonna stretch it all out again. So we're gonna inhale when you're ready. Rise back up to hands and knees, home base. And then inhale, step that left foot back up between the hands. So same place we were in before. Again, the option to maybe shift that right knee a little further back. And then again, a little revisit of that crescent pose. We can inhale to slowly walk ourselves up. Arms might extend overhead. And this time, I'll invite everyone to interlace your hands behind you at the base of your neck. So like this kind of shape, it's almost like we're making a little basket with our palms that we can then lean back into. So we're getting into a little bit of a back bend. All the more important to keep the belly strong, drawing those muscles in tight to support our low back as we start to lean back into our hands. So leaning our head into our hands can also help to open the shoulders, elbows opening wide, lifting through the chest. And we're gonna take 3 more crunches here. They look like this. It'll be an inhale to lean back. Exhale, bringing your elbows together in front of your face as we hover over that left side. So we're kind of curling into the spine. Inhale, lifting up, opening wide. Exhale, elbows come together, punch it in. One more time. Inhale, open. Arching back. Exhale, elbows together. Who knew you could work your belly so much in a way that's not a sit-up? You are welcome. Inhale, release that clasp. Arms up to the sky. And this time, we're going to interlace hands behind us. So again, like you're holding someone's hand. Start to straighten out your arms behind you. Knuckles reaching to the back of the room. Shoulders rolling down and away from our ears. And let's just pause here. Find some big breaths. I'm sweating. I hope you are too. I feel it. I feel the heat building. One more inhale to lift through the knuckles, lift through the chest. Last move on this side. As we exhale, start to fold inside, keeping that clasp, holding inside the left knee. So shoulders come inside, in between the legs, as our knuckles work to reach up and overhead. This is a balancing pose too, so the breath will help. Maybe taking another one of those sighs if needed. Awesome, one more breath, you got this, all the way in. Finish and exhale, this is an intense place. Remember, this will pass, it's not gonna be forever, and it's already done. We can inhale, start to lift all the way up. Release that bind, crescent never felt so good, as arms come up overhead. And then exhale, hands come back down, feet frame the left foot. So let's take a pigeon stretch on this side, between sides. So start to walk your left foot over to the right side of your mat, okay? And then from here, see about laying that shin down so it's parallel or in line with the front edge of your neck. Cool. And from here, see if you can settle down. Your fingertips can be in front of that left shin for support. You can kind of use your hands to prop yourself up. Lifting through the chest. This is a hip stretch in case you didn't notice already. So find a place that you can hold for a few rounds of breath. And if you have the room, you might start to pull forward even a little bit. You might bring one forearm down or both. And let me just remind everybody that just because you can bring your forearms down in pigeon pose does not mean you are any happier than someone who cannot. It doesn't super matter. We just want to make sure you're getting the stretch in the hips, so whatever works for you. Pigeon pose is great when it comes to pairs of opposites because I have found that people either love pigeon pose, it feels so good, they can't get enough, or this is like absolutely miserable for you and very intense. And so whatever category you fall into, find the breath. This is going to pass, and all we need to do is find a way to get through it. So maybe you soften the jaw a little bit. It doesn't need to be gripping. Maybe we're wasting energy gripping places that don't even matter right now. So soften where you can. Maybe the place you need to soften is your mind and kind of harsh, sharp thoughts you might be thinking. Yeah, one more breath. Can you stick it out? You got this. So nice. All right, so sometimes coming out of pigeon can feel like we're stuck. So take your time. Maybe just start bringing some weight into your palms. Kind of coming out the way we came in. Oh, and then we can start to lift through that left knee. Oh yeah, back to home base, and let's tuck the toes. We're just gonna do one downward facing dog. So toes tucked behind you. Start to lift the knees slowly off the earth and eventually come all the way up, straightening your legs, heels melting down to the earth. We're making like an upside down V with our body. This is our down dog. So let's find some breath. Pause here for a moment. Maybe shake the head, yes and no, to loosen up through the neck and shoulders. Maybe bending one knee and then the other, pressing down through the opposite heel. One more big inhale. And then using the exhale to slowly melt these back down, coming back to tabletop. All right, you ready for the other side? You're so close, stay with me. Doing amazing, we're almost there. So back to tabletop, grand finale. Stepping right foot now between the hands, maybe scooching that left knee back. And then climbing up. Arms maybe extend overhead before interlacing. Now we can inhale, really luxuriate in this back bend, letting the elbows open wide, leaning back into your hands. Belly strong for support. And we'll take those 3 crunches together. So inhale, maybe tipping back a tiny bit more, opening through the chest. And then exhale as we crunch in towards that right thigh, elbows come together. Inhale, rise and open. Exhale, little crunch. One more time, open wide. Exhale, crunching in. Yay, we did it. Inhale up, release that line, arms up. And we'll this time interlace behind us. So grabbing palms, straightening through the arms as knuckles reach the back of the room. Lifting through our chest, lifting chin. And then on an exhale, let's fold inside that right leg. So my left toes, so the back toes and shin, might turn in a little bit, and that can sometimes help with balance. Almost like a little kickstand to the side. And then hang out one more breath. Finishing the exhale, and then inhale to rise all the way back up. You can release the bind, the clasp, and finding pigeon on the side. So hands free mat foot, right foot starts to walk over to the left as we lay the shin down. Awesome. So fingertips maybe in front for support. They can stay here the whole time. Maybe with a couple rounds of breath, we start to soften enough to hold in a little bit more. Forearms come down, maybe one or both. No matter where we're at, no matter what kind of holiday season we're having or whatever is going on for us this week, I know almost for a fact that we could all benefit from just a little bit more compassion for ourselves. So, we can be super critical. We can push it so hard or put so much pressure on ourselves, especially this time of year. And I don't know about you, but that's never really helped me much. I feel like I benefit so much more from extra compassion, extra understanding, being patient with ourselves, showing ourselves kindness. So maybe as we sit here as a distraction from what you're feeling in your hip, you might think of one way one really simple way that you can show yourself a little more compassion and kindness this week. Hang right here. Stay in this intensity for one more breath. All the way in. Finishing the exhale. And then slowly, you made it. You made it through, bringing weight back into the palms. Starting to just gently press ourselves back up through hands and knees. Maybe a little shimmy or a little circle through the hips like we did in the beginning. I personally love a down dog after pigeon. It just feels so good to my body. So really anything that's feeling good to you. Maybe stretching out the legs behind you one at a time, or if you want one more big full body stretch, go ahead and take it. Oh my gosh, everything in my body just cracked. Did you hear that? I hope so. All my toes, my ankles. It was great. All right, so we can lower knees back down. Maybe crossing at the ankles behind you, just to swing the legs through to seated on your mat. And we're gonna lay down, and yay, you made it. So just gently unfurling, laying yourself down on the mat, maybe hugging the knees in towards our chest. Giving yourself a big hug. I like to rock a little side to side. It's like a little massage you can give yourself, just rolling around on the floor. So from here, knees into chest, let's open, arms out wide to the side, like wings. They can just rest out beside you. Then start to let the knees fall over to the left. They can come all the way to the floor, stacking on top of each other as we turn our head to the right. So then lying down, reclined twist. Just sort of letting yourself be held. Just let gravity take over. No more work left to do. You've made it. Now's the time for balance, right? Those pairs of opposites. It's like we did some hard work. And now it's so important to balance it out with some rest. You need both. Inhaling to draw our knees back up through center. And then exhale, switch sides. So knees stacked on top of one another, over to the right as we turn our gaze to the left. And just so you know, the closer your knees are towards your armpits, the more intense the twist is going to be. So if it feels like too much, or your knees are hovering in the air, you might reach them a little further down towards the bottom of your mat, rather than hugging them up so closely towards your armpit. Inhale to bring the knees up through center. Wrapping your arms around them. Give yourself one more big giant squeeze. And I will challenge all of you at home to mean it as much as you can. Give yourself a hug and see how much you can mean it. Thank you so much for taking this time to take care of yourself, to give yourself some love and time and space. It's so awesome. And just imagine how much better we will be for everything that is waiting for us after this time. We're just going to be in a better place to handle it, whatever it is. So, really well done. And now there's nothing left to do but take our final rest. So we can take one more inhale together. I like to even squeeze everything in tight. Maybe lifting up, bringing your forehead to your knees, and then squishing up your face, your toes, your fingertips. Squeeze, hold at the top of the inhale, and then exhale, let everything go. Stretching out, legs extend long, arms long by your side. And just take these next few moments to soak this all in. Start to bring your attention back to your breath. Resisting any temptation to rush back to the next thing. And really just savoring these last few moments together. Maybe wiggling the fingers and toes a little bit, or rocking your head a little side to side. I always love a big, long stretch with arms up overhead, everything long. Tips of the fingers to tips of your toes. Like when you first wake up in the morning. And then we can maybe rock over onto one side, pausing for a moment, or you can just press yourself up with your hands. Eventually to a seated position at the top of your mat, where we'll bring our hands together, heart center, that gesture of gratitude. Just gratitude for another day, another chance, another day to be alive and work on ourselves and try to be a little bit better than we were yesterday. So thank you so much for taking this time. Namaste to all of you. Come closer so I can say goodbye. It's amazing to take this time. I think especially when there are so many, again, distractions this time of year especially, or other things we could be doing. And so I honor you for that. It was so nice to spend this time with you, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.